Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Now, I've spoken at some length about these masters and, of course, about Maitreya. Now, when Maitreya comes out and these masters come out more and more, as time goes on, eventually, it's a priority of Maitreya, but the first priority, of course, is saving the hungry millions and the starving millions and saving our environment. We got to do that first. But as time goes on, there are going to be other things that he's going to be talking about, especially once we've got the other stuff covered. Now, he is going to talk about the path that we all take to become masters. Now, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you believe it or not, deep within the hearts of all of us sits the same truth and the same, like I say, the creative impulse that's not only in all these masters, but in the same being that created all of cosmos. There's a little bit of that in our hearts. And that is the truth of who we are. Now, we don't identify with it. We identify with our emotions, our physical bodies, our physical desires, our conditioning, thinking that we're a Republican or a Democrat or an American or a French or a Finnish or English or whatever, right? Chinese. And we all identify with all these other stuff that's not really us. Now, Maitreya, of course, through his core teachings of honesty of mind, sincerity of spirit, and detachment, is going to start to teach people more and more. And there's more to it than just that, but those are the simplest. That's the simplest thing that I can talk about in a 5-minute video. Now, in the Bible, there are two great symbols of the path of return that these masters have already taken themselves, but we're still in the process of doing right now. The first one is the simplest one, and the second one is symbolized by 5 major events in Jesus' life that did happen historically, but they were written in the Bible in a way to begin the teaching of a more scientific approach to the return. So what do I mean by that? Now, the first one, the simplest one, is actually a very well-known parable that Jesus spoke about, the prodigal son. Most people, even if you don't follow Christianity, have heard of that parable, right? The son of a rich landlord goes to his father and says he wants his inheritance. His father gives it to him. He rides off, goes to the town, spends it all away on righteous living. Next thing you know, he finds himself destitute, and the only thing he can think of is to go back home, right? So he goes crawling back home. He thinks his father's going to reject him, but his father, of course, with open arms, welcomes him back home. Now, the Christians would say that parable is about the sinner who went off and did his thing, and then through the process of redemption came back to Jesus, the Son of God, or the Father, or whatever like that, right? And to a degree, that's correct, and I agree with it. Now, there's more to it than that. The esotericist would look at it slightly different. Now, it's the path that we all have taken into materialism and into identifying with nothing but the physical body and the emotions and the mind. And through karma, through wrong identification of those vehicles and so forth, and through dying and coming back, dying and coming back, dying and coming back, over and over and over and over and over again, having to work through our karma and all that kind of stuff, we get to the point where we start to identify with who and what we really are, which is the self, which is the same being that created the entire cosmos, is that self, the absolute. You really can't speak of it, because if you try to put a label on it, you've already moved past it, because label it doesn't. There's nothing that you can label it with, and the closest thing you can say is it's really who you are. It's the witness when you look at your emotions. That's why Maitreya's core teachings is going to be about detachment. And who am I? Looking at and asking yourself, who is having these experiences? Who is having these emotions? Who is having these thoughts, and so forth? But each one of these masters, including Maitreya, have struggled and lived everything that you can think of in your life that you've had to deal with, all the crap and the garbage you've had to deal with, all the humiliation and the pain and the suffering, whatever, and even the good stuff, they've had to deal with themselves and overcome. And as Maitreya would say, they are the guarantee that every single one of us will eventually achieve what they achieve. Now, from our point of view, they've gone faster than us, but from the master's point of view, time doesn't exist. It's all one. So it's all just happening now. But, and as always, take action. Help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos. Have a great day.